so many minimalist style homes feel cold and lifeless in real life? Well, today I'm going to answer that because I'm covering 5 of the minimalist design traps that homeowners end up regretting because it can make your home feel cold and lifeless. These are design mistakes that can make your home feel flat and boring, so they should definitely be avoided at all costs. But make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to give you a bonus section on how to embrace a growing trend of warm minimalism that's going to address all these design mistakes and make your home feel very minimalist but also warm and inviting. Let's get started with one of the biggest myths around minimalism, which is causing problems everywhere, and that's the idea that less is always more. That sounds great in theory, but having hardly anything in a minimalist space, such as your kitchen or your living room, has some real problems in terms of functionality. I did have a friend that wanted to have a minimalist aesthetic in their kitchen, and they basically took away a lot of the kitchen cabinets. So they had uppers and lowers, and they decided to get rid of all their upper cabinets, and that created a little bit of an issue later on down the road. Although it looked very sleek and chic and very clutter-free to have no upper cabinets, the issue is after a few months, she just could not get a lot of work done in the kitchen because there was just not enough storage anymore. She had to really consolidate and reduce down all the different types of appliances, utensils, pots, pans, serving trays, and get rid of a lot of things. And then she ended up needing them, especially during the holidays or when she had people over, and she just didn't have enough storage anymore. Mike Welch, an interior designer, puts it perfectly. Minimalism is not about having less. It's about having more of what matters. He says people think you have to throw everything away that you love, but that's simply not true. Aiming for less storage or less items or things in your home can lead to more problems. When you don't have adequate storage, it leads to a lot of functionality problems, and although aesthetically, meaning visually, your space can look very clean and clutter-free, you just don't have room for all the things that you need to actually live your life. The secret to having a minimalist look is about thoughtful curation. And so that means making sure you have all the items you need, but putting them in a way that is everything has its own place, and you keep all of the sleek lines and the clean look that you're looking for, but you hide away some of the items. That way you can access them when you need them and put them away when you're done. I wanted to show you guys an example here in this very minimalist kitchen, and they have this great appliance garage. They have their blender, coffee maker, coffee mugs, all hidden behind this wonderful cabinet. That way you can take those items out when you need them and put them away when you're done. Design mistake number 2 for a minimalist home is definitely around when you're sacrificing comfort for style. This can happen when people choose overly stark furniture as well as decor that look very minimalist, but they also lack a lot of warmth, and they can make your place feel very sterile because you have a lack of soft textures as well as different textures. A lot of people end up using very smooth surfaces like the flooring you see here, very shiny surfaces, very plain, smooth walls, and it can be a little bit too sterile and having a lack of visual interest when everything is just a smooth, hard surface. One of the benefits of minimalism is that you have fewer pieces of furniture. Like here, there's just a very large living room here, and then we have one sectional as well as 2 chairs. But because you don't have as many pieces of furniture, you can invest a little bit more in terms of higher quality or a special design. And what I do like about this particular room is they did add the shag rug that adds a ton of visual interest, depth, and softness because there are so many hard, smooth surfaces in that room. I think without this rug, it would look way more lifeless, and you want the look to your home to feel cozy and inviting. You have to have that variety of different surfaces and textures to get that warmth to your home. A lot of people can choose very boxy, rectangular furniture. So these chairs that are very boxy in shape, or the coffee table, which is chrome as well as a rectangle shape. I think one of the other dangers of some of the minimalism is that you're choosing pieces of furniture, especially that are just for the way they look. And you're not thinking about how they're gonna feel when you sit on them or when you use them every day. I like this couch because it actually is very comfortable and it has some softer curves to it. And that way, when you're actually sitting on it, it's very comfortable, and they didn't choose it just for the look, but they also chose it for how it feels and how it's gonna function. So that is something that you definitely don't wanna forget about when you're doing that minimalism home, is you have to have something that's both gonna fit with your design as well as feel welcoming and inviting to guests. This next design mistake when it comes to minimalism is around storage solutions. That could be anything from your kitchen cabinets to something like a nightstand here. People may pick a more minimalist storage solution that doesn't actually have a lot of functionality. Your nightstand, it might be a little bit too small. It might not have much storage on it at all. Maybe it only has one drawer and you actually need 2 or 3. And this one is a big one, in my opinion, is their nightstand is actually too low here. If you see, the top of the bed is actually much higher than the nightstand down here. And so when you're laying in the bed, it's very difficult for you to grab your phone, grab a glass of water. It's way down low. It's almost a foot lower than it should be. So normally you would want to have your nightstand to be at the same level, the top of the nightstand, as your bed. And that is something that they decided to choose, something that looks minimalist and looks with the vibe without thinking about the functionality. When you're building that minimalist home and thinking about the design, you really have to think about the functionality, because you don't have a lot of pieces of furniture to work with. Every piece of furniture has to maintain the maximum function and look aesthetically pleasing. The other thing that you might want to consider when you're doing your minimalist home is also making sure you have plenty of storage, and that could mean maybe you add some built-ins, or maybe you have a closet like they have here that has a lot of different storage options built in, some of those custom closet solutions, so that you can hide away a lot of your personal items inside the closet versus having to have a lot of furniture in the bedroom that would add to a lot of cluttered look or maybe not fit into your minimalist design. But if you're thinking about doing a room makeover and that's why you're watching this video, I've got a free gift for you. It's my room makeover planner, and it is a great free resource that you can use to plan your project. It has a little grid area so you can plan the layout of your room. It has a place to help you build your budget. It'll help you decide what you want to keep, what you want to get. Get yours for free today. It's at pennymodern.com/freebies, and the link is down in the description. This next one is about creating a very colorless and lifeless space by accident when you do your minimalist design plan. This can happen when people try to achieve that monochromatic look that is very much hand in hand with minimalist design. So for example, in here, pretty much almost everything is white in this bathroom except for the vanity here, and they went overboard on all the white. And some people think that minimalism means that everything has to be white, or everything has to be gray, or everything has to be beige. And that can mean that everything doesn't have any personality or warmth. What can happen, like when you have a room like this where everything is this white color, it has this marble literally on the floor, on the walls, everywhere, and it can just feel almost like you're in a hospital or some kind of a sterile environment. And you've got to think about ways on how you're going to warm up your space and add different textures to help give it some life. Bianca Soto from Market Studio Interiors explains it perfectly. It's not about emptiness, it's about having breathing room. So you can have a beautiful sage color, or maybe a soft ochre, or even a dusty rose, and use that in your minimalist. You can use those colors to help balance things out, add a sense of proportion, as well as have still your very clean lines and beautiful silhouettes in your minimalist design. The real problem when you have those monochromatic looks where everything is all one color, like white in this bathroom, is that a lot of people, unfortunately, don't add very much texture. That is what makes it feel more sterile, is when everything is this very smooth, shiny, clean line approach that has no other textures in it. It can just feel very flat and very boring and lack any personality. What would I do differently in here? So I would definitely try to add a lot more texture, a lot more personality. One thing you could have done is basically, instead of using the exact same tile on the walls, maybe add a different type of tile or a portion of the tile in something that has a different texture to it, or at least is a different size instead of these huge 12 by 24s. Or the other thing you could do is put in a rug that has a lot of texture to it, like we saw in the living room. And then the other item that you can do is you can always add towels, but you also could add some really cool, beautiful art, maybe some kind of abstract design that has a lot of texture on it. That would help bring a lot more visual interest to this bathroom. And then I would definitely try to add some more natural materials, maybe with some kind of woven baskets, or maybe some plants as well. That adding something like as easy as plants on the window ledge would definitely bring a lot of life to this room, a lot of softness, and help balance out all the smooth surfaces. I'd love to hear in the comments below, what do you think this bathroom could use in terms of adding warmth, texture, and personality, so it doesn't look so cold and lifeless? Let us know down in the comments below what you think. The fifth mistake is about a misconception around maintenance on minimalist homes. People mistakenly think that having a minimalist design in your home can be very low maintenance because you don't have a lot of stuff. However, that is a misconception, because a lot of the minimalist design choices actually can require a lot of high maintenance and a lot of upkeep. I wanted to show you guys these high gloss white cabinets that were chosen for this particular kitchen, which is definitely a minimalist design style. The issue with the high gloss is that they're gonna show every single fingerprint, especially if you have kids and you're cooking and your hands are dirty. You're gonna have fingerprints, you're gonna have smudges, and they are very unforgiving. You can literally see every speck of dust, every fingerprint, and you're constantly having to clean and wipe down your kitchen cabinets. And the other issue with high gloss cabinets that a lot of people don't realize is they can be susceptible to cracking or chipping, especially over time. If you have white, it's just so unforgiving. If you have one little crack or one little dent, you're definitely gonna see it every time you're looking at your cabinets. When you have fewer elements in terms of your minimalist design and you're using a lot of white in the design, or you're using a lot of solid color or shiny finishes, it's just very unforgiving because it shows every speck and every divot and every fingerprint. So what should you do instead? You really should consider the reality of your life and your willingness to do very much maintenance or cleaning when you're making your design choices. And you also need to consider the people that are living in your home, in terms of if you have little kids, if you have people that are messy when they're cooking and things like that. Personally, I would avoid doing the high gloss cabinets. You definitely want to pick a more matte finish. And I'm definitely for having the handleless design, because I think that's a great design style. But what I do is, see how this has a little ridge right here? This is the handle, and so you can actually open and close this without touching the shiny surface. I think that's a brilliant design style. So because I have seen some IKEA cabinets that are the high gloss, but they don't have that little ridge, and that's when you tend to get so many fingerprints. So make sure you have those little design tweaks that are gonna help you. The other thing is, maybe don't choose the stark white, choose an off-white or maybe a darker color, a gray, a beige, a brown, and that way it's gonna hide a little bit of the smudges and the fingerprints that you get from daily life a lot more easily than a bright white. Have you guys ever experienced putting something into your home or having a finish that you thought was really beautiful, but it ended up requiring a ton of upkeep? So in our last kitchen, we actually had a white shaker that I thought was so beautiful, but what I did not like about it is it collected a lot of dust in that bottom part of the shaker, and then it also just showed every single imperfection because it was a bright Arctic white. Let us know down in the comments below if there's anything that you got that turned into a maintenance nightmare after the fact, and that way everybody can learn here in our community. I'll see you in the comments below. Now we're going to talk about that warm minimalism trend that I've told you guys about. But first, if you want to have more affordable modern home decor design tips and design ideas, hit subscribe because that's what we're all about here at Penny Modern. Here are 3 easy ways that you can embrace this warm minimalism trend that we're seeing more and more of in 2025, as well as will be in 2026. And number 1 is prioritizing function and form. Instead of sacrificing comfort for style, you want to definitely embrace both. Warm minimalism definitely embraces both comfort and style. So think about it like having a piece like this couch here, where it has very clean lines, but it does have some curves to it, but it's also very comfortable. And that way it's very functional because people actually want to sit on this couch. The next way to achieve that warm minimalism look is to definitely embrace a lot of texture, as well as you definitely want to add texture to a home, like having this very textured rug, but also embracing some color. Maybe it's a stone color, an oatmeal, and definitely browns. Browns are very trendy and hot, and it helps give a lot of earthiness. Actually, any earth tones can be really beautiful when you have that minimalism design. And that way you're gonna get some warm colors and then have a variety of different textures, smooth as well as soft textures. And that way you're gonna embrace that warm minimalism trend and have a more inviting and cozy home. The third way to embrace warm minimalism is to definitely curate with intention. Think about thoughtfully curating things instead of getting rid of everything. You definitely want to keep pieces that mean something to you. So it could be something from your travels or a beautiful art piece that you really, really love. Those are things that you definitely want to keep and find a way to showcase them in your minimalist design. You want to choose pieces that have meaning, function, or beauty, but preferably they have all 3, because remember, you want to minimize how many pieces that you have in a room to get that minimalist look. So your pieces really need to have triple duty and have a lot of meaning to you, as well as have a lot of beauty, and they're also super functional. For example, when you're choosing a couch, you want something that's gonna have those clean lines to get the aesthetic you want. You want it to be really comfortable, so make sure you sit in it. You also think about if you're gonna be using it to watch TV, is it the right way that you're gonna be able to sit back and watch TV? And then you also want it to have some kind of meaning to you. So maybe it's a color that you really love, or maybe it's a shape that really means something to you. That could be a different thing for every person, but it's going to basically help your home feel more personalized as well as inviting, and that will help give that cozy atmosphere that we're trying to achieve with that warm minimalism. Now that you know the things that you should avoid when you're trying to do that minimalist design, aren't you gonna wanna know how to make your home look more luxurious? So if you do, make sure you watch this next video right here, and I'll see you in the next video.